Han Sung Park stood at the military base's window, looking at the strange lights in the sky. The aliens had arrived 3 days ago, and Earth hadn't been the same since. Their huge ship hung in the sky like a silver needle, catching the sunlight and making everyone nervous. "Captain Park, they want to meet you," said General Kim, walking into the room. His face looked tired after endless meetings about the aliens. Han Sung turned around. "Me? Why not someone more important?" The general handed him a tablet. On it was a message from the aliens, who called themselves the Navarans. They had studied Earth for months and wanted to meet someone who had survived the harshest conditions on the planet. "Your record caught their eye," the general explained. "You survived that winter mission in Antarctica. You made it through the desert training without water for 3 days. They seem very interested in that." Han Sung remembered those times. They had been hard, but that was just part of being human. He didn't think it was anything special. The meeting was set for the next day. Han Sung walked into the big conference room, wearing his formal uniform. 5 Navarans sat at the table. They looked almost human, but their skin had a blue tint, and their eyes were too big. They wore what looked like space suits. "This is the specimen," one of them asked through a translator. "It seems so fragile." Han Sung kept his face calm, even though being called it made him angry. The lead alien, who called himself first speaker, turned to his companions. "Look at the readings. This creature lives in what we would call killing conditions. Their air is thick with oxygen, a poison to most advanced species. Their gravity would crush most life forms. And the temperature changes, from freezing to burning in mere days." Another alien looked at Han Sung with what seemed like pity. "And you survive these conditions without any protection, without technology. We call it going outside," Han Sung said simply. "It's just normal for us." The aliens made strange sounds that the translator said was laughter. "Normal? Your kind calls a death zone normal." First speaker held up a device. "Your planet is what we call a death world. Most intelligent life evolves in safe, controlled environments. Your kind somehow survived in this." He showed a hologram of Earth, massive storms, active volcanoes, earthquakes, extreme temperatures, dangerous wildlife, and poisonous plants. "It's amazing you didn't destroy yourselves." Han Sung thought about his grandfather's farm, the beautiful mountains, the seas where he used to swim. He thought about kids playing in parks and people having picnics. Their deadly planet was home to billions of happy people. "We don't just survive," Han Sung said. "We live. We build. We create art and music. We explore. We thrive." The aliens looked at each other. First speaker leaned forward. "Perhaps that is why we are here. Your kind interests us. We offer you a chance to join us in space, to see how truly advanced species live. Would you represent your planet?" Before Han Sung could answer, alarms started blaring. One of the aliens' devices had fallen off the table. The Navaran who dropped it stood frozen, unwilling to bend down in Earth's gravity. Without thinking, Han Sung picked it up and handed it back. The alien stared at how easily he moved. "Yes," Han Sung said, "I'll represent Earth. I want to see how you live, and I want you to see how strong we really are." The first speaker's expression changed. "Then prepare yourself, human. You will leave your death world in 7 days. Let us see if you can survive real civilization." As Han Sung left the room, he heard the aliens talking among themselves. They thought humans were weak because they came from a hard world. They thought Earth had made humans primitive. They were wrong. Earth hadn't made humans weak. It had made them strong. And soon, Han Sung would prove it. He looked out at the alien ship in the sky and smiled. This was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure, and he would show them all what a creature from a death world could do. The alien ship looked different up close. Han Sung stood at the boarding ramp with his small bag of personal items. The Navaran crew watched him from above, wearing their protective suits. They still couldn't believe he was walking around in Earth's deadly atmosphere without any protection. "Last chance to back out," said Yunji, who stood beside him. She was Earth's new diplomatic officer, assigned to communicate with him during the mission. "The next time I see you, you'll be the first human to leave our solar system. Someone has to show them what humans can do," Han Sung replied. He checked his simple uniform one last time. The aliens had refused to give him a space suit, saying their ship's environment was perfectly safe for any civilized species. As he walked up the ramp, he heard one Navaran whisper to another, "How long do you think the primitive will last?" "1 day. 2. The ship's interior was bright and clean. The air felt thin, like being on a tall mountain, but Han Sung could breathe. The gravity was lighter than Earth's, making him feel bouncy with each step. The aliens watched him closely, probably waiting for him to collapse. "This way to your quarters," said a Navaran officer named Second Guide. "We've adjusted the room to be more suitable for your kind." The room was small, with walls that glowed softly. There was no bed, just a floating platform that hummed with energy. The air here was even thinner. "The atmosphere in this room is set to half of your planet's poisonous density," Second Guide explained. "The gravity is at 2/3 of your crushing Earth normal. We hope this will help you survive." Han Sung put his bag down and sat on the floating bed. It was like sitting on air. "Thank you," he said politely, "but I can handle normal ship conditions if you prefer." Second Guide made that laughing sound again. Brave words from a Deathworlder. "But no, we don't want to be responsible for your death. Rest now. Tomorrow will be challenging for you." After the alien left, Han Sung took out his tablet and connected to Earth's network through the ship's systems. Yunji's face appeared on the screen. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "They think they're being kind by making things softer for me," Han Sung said, doing push-ups on the floor to test the gravity. "But Earth prepared us for much worse." Over the next few days, Han Sung explored the ship. The Navarans were surprised each morning to find him still alive. They were even more surprised to see him exercising in their harsh conditions. He ran through the corridors, did pull-ups on the storage room bars, and helped move heavy equipment that the aliens struggled with. "Impossible," one engineer said, watching Han Sung easily lift a power cell. "Your muscles should be useless in this gravity." "On Earth, I used to climb mountains for fun," Han Sung explained. "This feels easy in comparison." The ship's doctor insisted on running tests. "Your body is processing our thin atmosphere with remarkable efficiency," she said, checking her instruments. "Your bones aren't weakening in our light gravity. Your muscles aren't failing." "How?" "We adapt," Han Sung said simply. "It's what humans do." By the end of the first week, some of the crew started to treat him differently. They stopped waiting for him to fail. Instead, they asked him questions about Earth. How did humans build cities in deadly weather? How did they survive temperature changes that would kill most species? How did they grow food in poisoned soil? Han Sung answered every question patiently. At night, he reported back to Yunji. "They're starting to understand," he told her. "What they see as impossible conditions made us stronger. Every challenge Earth gave us made us more adaptable." Yunji smiled. "Keep showing them. But be careful. Some aliens might not be happy to learn that humans are tougher than they thought." Han Sung nodded. He knew this was just the beginning. Soon, they would reach the first alien port. Then the real test would begin. But he was ready. Earth had prepared him for anything the galaxy could throw at him. The emergency alarms woke Han Sung from his sleep. Red lights flashed through the ship, and worried voices filled the corridors. He quickly put on his uniform and stepped out of his room. "All crew to the command center," the speakers announced. "This is not a drill." In the command center, first speaker stood in front of a large screen. The screen showed a planet with 3 moons and a large mining station orbiting it. Warning signs flashed around the station. The mining station's gravity generators are failing, first speaker announced. 200 workers are trapped inside. The planet's gravity is 3 times stronger than standard levels. The Navaran crew looked worried. Their species couldn't survive in high gravity. Han Sung remembered how they struggled even in Earth's gravity, which was lower than this planet's. How long until the station falls? Someone asked. 4 hours, replied first speaker. We're the only ship close enough to help. But in that gravity, his voice trailed off. Han Sung stepped forward. What needs to be fixed? The room went quiet. First speaker turned to him. The main power core must be restarted manually. But the gravity. He stopped and looked at Han Sung with new understanding. You come from a high-gravity world. Earth's gravity is only 1/3 of that planet's, said second guide quickly. Even a Deathworlder couldn't survive those conditions. Han Sung took out his tablet and called Earth. Yunji answered immediately. Behind her, Du Hyun was already working at a computer. We heard the emergency call, Yunji said. Du Hyun has been studying the reports on your physical tests from the ship's doctor. Du Hyun looked up from his computer. According to my calculations, a human could survive that gravity for short periods. It would be like carrying twice your body weight on Earth. Hard, but not impossible. Many humans train with that much weight. Han Sung told the aliens. I can do this. First speaker shook his head. The risk is too high. No species has ever survived those conditions without protective gear. Our suits can't handle that gravity. Then I'll go without a suit, Han Sung said. The station has air, right? Yes, but... First speaker looked at the screen again. 200 lives. If you die trying to save them, I won't die, Han Sung said firmly. Earth's gravity made us strong. Our heavy world taught us to endure. Let me try. After a quick discussion with Earth, the aliens agreed. They had no other choice. The ship docked with the mining station, and Han Sung prepared for his mission. The ship's doctor gave him some medicine for the pain he would feel in the high gravity. The power cord is 3 levels down. Second guide explained, showing him a map. You'll have to climb down in the high gravity, restart the core, and climb back up, all within 1 hour, or the damage will be too severe to fix. Han Sung nodded. He looked at his tablet one last time. Yunji and Du Hyun were watching. We'll guide you through the restart process, Du Hyun said. Just focus on moving and staying conscious. Show them what humans can do, Yunji added softly. The airlock door opened. Han Sung took his first step into the mining station, and the heavy gravity hit him like a wall. His legs shook with each step. His arms felt like they were made of lead. But he kept moving. Impossible, he heard someone say through his radio. He's still standing. Han Sung smiled, despite the pressure crushing down on him. Earth had prepared him for this. Years of training in heavy gear, climbing mountains with full packs, and working in extreme conditions had made him ready. He reached the stairs and looked down. It was time to prove that being from a death world wasn't a weakness. It was humanity's greatest strength. Beginning descent now, he reported, and took his first step down into the challenge that no other species had ever survived. Every step down the stairs felt like walking with a mountain on his shoulders. Han Sung's legs burned with effort, but he kept moving. Sweat ran down his face as he fought against the crushing gravity. Heart rate is very high, the ship's doctor said through his radio. Blood pressure rising. You must turn back. No, Han Sung said between heavy breaths. I can do this. He reached the first landing and stopped to rest. Through his tablet, Du Hyun spoke quickly. You're doing great. Just 2 more floors. Remember your mountain climbing training. Han Sung smiled despite the pain. The aliens didn't know that humans had climbed Mount Everest without oxygen tanks. They didn't know about deep sea divers who worked under crushing pressure. Earth had prepared humans for exactly this kind of challenge. He started down the next flight of stairs. Each step had to be careful and planned. One wrong move in this gravity could break bones. 15 minutes gone, Yanji reported. You're making good time. The final stairs were the hardest. Han Sung's vision blurred at the edges, but he forced himself to keep going. Finally, he reached the power core room. The door was heavy, but he managed to pull it open. Inside, red emergency lights cast scary shadows. The power core, usually bright blue, was dark and silent. Han Sung walked to the control panel, his feet making deep sounds on the metal floor. "Okay," Do Hyun said through the tablet. "The restart sequence is complicated. First, you need to..." Suddenly, the radio crackled. "Warning. Station orbit dropping faster than expected. You have 15 minutes before critical failure." Han Sung didn't waste time talking. His fingers, heavy as lead, moved across the control panel. Do Hyun called out instructions, and Han Sung followed them exactly. Years of military training helped him stay focused despite the crushing weight on his body. The power core hummed to life. Blue light filled the room. But Han Sung's job wasn't done yet. He had to stay and make sure the power level stayed stable. 10 minutes, Yanji warned. Han Sung's legs shook badly now. The high gravity was taking its toll. But he thought about the 200 workers trapped above him. On Earth, humans never gave up when others needed help. "Power levels at 60%, he reported. 70%. 80%. "Amazing," first speaker's voice came through the radio. "The gravity generators are starting to work again. You did it." "Not done yet," Han Sung said. "Need to reach 100%. Finally, the power core glowed at full strength. The station's systems came back online. But now came the hardest part, climbing back up. Han Sung's legs nearly gave out on the first step. The gravity felt even heavier now that he was tired. But he started climbing anyway. "The gravity generators are working," second guide reported. "Gravity levels are dropping. You have 10 levels to go. 9. 8. Han Sung climbed. Each step was pure pain. He thought about Earth, about running on beaches and climbing mountains. He thought about all the humans who had done impossible things before him. Their strength was his strength. When he finally reached the airlock, he could barely stand. The ship's doctor was waiting with medical equipment, but Han Sung waved her away and stayed on his feet. "How?" First speaker asked, looking at him with new respect. "How did you survive that?" "On Earth," Han Sung said, still catching his breath. "We have a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Our hard world taught us to never give up." Later, in his room, Han Sung talked to Yanji through his tablet. His muscles ached, but he felt proud. "The aliens are talking about you," she said, smiling. "They're calling you the Deathworlder now, but they say it with respect." Han Sung nodded. Finally, they were beginning to understand. Humans weren't weak because they came from a hard world. They were strong because of it. News of Han Sung's success at the mining station spread quickly through space. 3 days after the rescue, the ship's main meeting room was full of curious aliens. They all wanted to learn about humans and Earth. The ship's doctor stood in front of large screens showing human medical data. Do Hyun had sent her detailed files about human biology, and what she found surprised everyone. "Look at their bone structure," she said, pointing to an image. Earth's gravity made their bones incredibly dense. Their muscles are compact, but powerful. Even their blood carries oxygen more effectively than any known species. First speaker studied the data with great interest. "And you're saying all humans are like this?" "Yes," Han Sung answered. "Some are even stronger. We have athletes who can lift 4 times their body weight, runners who can go for days without stopping, swimmers who can hold their breath for many minutes." The aliens whispered among themselves. One of them spoke up, "But how did you develop such abilities on a planet that should have killed you?" Through the room's main screen, Do Hyun joined the conversation from Earth. "It's because of Earth's challenges, not despite them. Each problem our planet gave us made us adapt and grow stronger. He showed pictures of Earth's different environments. Deserts, frozen poles, deep oceans, high mountains, thick jungles. Humans learned to live in all these places. We had to become tough and clever to survive. That's not all, Yunji added, appearing on another screen. Show them the stress response data. The ship's doctor displayed new charts. Humans produce chemicals in their bodies when under stress. Instead of shutting down, their bodies become stronger and faster in dangerous situations. They can ignore pain, lift heavier weights, and think more quickly. The adrenaline response, Do-hyun explained. It's our body's way of handling emergencies, like what happened at the mining station. Han-sung watched the aliens' reactions. They no longer looked at him with pity or mockery. Now their faces showed wonder and a hint of fear. There's more, the doctor continued. Humans can eat foods that would poison other species. They can heal from injuries that would kill most creatures. Their bodies can even fight off many diseases on their own. And their minds, second guide added unexpectedly. I've watched Han-sung solve problems in ways I never considered. Earth's harsh conditions didn't just make humans physically strong. Han-sung thought about this. Earth had taught humans to be creative, to find new solutions, to never give up. Every challenge had made them think differently. But surely there must be a cost, one alien scientist said. Such abilities must use up too much energy. Do-hyun smiled. Actually, humans are very efficient. We can go days without food if needed. We can recover from extreme tiredness quickly. Our bodies are good at saving energy for when we need it most. The meeting went on for hours. The aliens asked endless questions about Earth and humans. Each answer seemed to amaze them more. Later, Han-sung sat in his room, talking to Yunji through his tablet. Everything is changing, she said. Other alien species are contacting us. They all want to know about humans now. Some are scared, but most are curious. They should be curious, not scared, Han-sung said. We don't want to fight. We want to help, like at the mining station. I know, Yunji smiled. But be careful. Not everyone will be happy to learn that humans are so capable. Some might see us as a threat. Han-sung nodded. He had noticed some aliens leaving the meeting looking worried. Humanity's strength could make some people nervous. We'll show them they don't need to be afraid, he said. Earth didn't just make us strong. It taught us to care for each other, to help those in need. That's the real truth about humans. Yunji's face became serious. You might get a chance to prove that soon. We're getting reports of trouble in nearby systems. Something big is coming, Han-sung. Something that might need humanity's special abilities. Han-sung looked out his window at the stars. Earth had prepared humans for whatever challenges lay ahead. Now it was time to show the galaxy what that really meant. The meeting room was tense. Han-sung sat quietly as three new alien leaders argued with first speaker. These aliens were different from the Navarans. They had red scales and sharp teeth. They called themselves the Krell. The humans are too dangerous to be left alone, the Krell leader said. His name was High Commander, and he didn't try to hide his anger. Their abilities must be controlled. First speaker stood firm. The humans have shown they are peaceful. They use their strength to help others, not harm them. Help, High Commander laughed. They could survive conditions that would kill us all. They could walk on our worlds without protection. They are a threat. Han-sung noticed how the Krell leaders kept looking at him. Their eyes showed both fear and want, like hungry animals seeing both danger and food. His tablet buzzed. It was a private message from Yunji. We have a problem. The Krell have sent ships toward Earth. They say it's for peaceful study, but our sensors show weapons. Han-sung kept his face calm, but his heart beat faster. He sent a quick message back. How many ships? 5 large warships, Yunji replied. Do-hyun is analyzing their weapons now. But Han-sung, they're not as strong as they want us to think. Their soldiers are used to easy worlds. They've grown soft. The argument in the room grew louder. High Commander was now making demands. We want human soldiers for our army. We need their strength. If Earth agrees, we will protect them. If not, what? Han Sung spoke for the first time. Everyone turned to look at him. You'll try to force us. High Commander showed his sharp teeth. Your world may have made you strong, but we have advanced weapons. Technology you can't match. Han Sung stood up slowly. The Krell leaders stepped back, even though they were bigger than him. They had heard stories about human strength. You think technology is everything, Han Sung said calmly. But Earth taught us something more important. We learned to adapt, to think differently, to work together. He walked to the room's main screen and brought up images from Earth's history. See these pictures. When we didn't have technology, we used clever thinking. When we faced stronger enemies, we found different ways to win. We turned our weaknesses into strengths. First speaker nodded in agreement. The humans don't just have physical strength. They have strength of mind and spirit. That's why they succeeded where others failed at the mining station. High Commander wasn't convinced. Pretty words. But suddenly, alarms started ringing. Second guide rushed into the room. The Krell ships near Earth. They're attacking each other. Everyone watched the screen in shock. The Krell ships were in chaos. Some were firing weapons. Others were trying to escape. What's happening? First speaker demanded. Yanji's face appeared on the screen. The Krell soldiers couldn't handle Earth's gravity during their landing attempt. Some ships turned back. Others disagreed. Now they're fighting among themselves. Han Sung hid his smile. Earth was defending itself just by being Earth. High Commander looked embarrassed and angry. This isn't over, he growled, and stormed out with his followers. After they left, first speaker turned to Han Sung. We didn't just protect you because we like humans. We did it because we've seen what you can do. The galaxy is facing big problems. We need humans' special abilities. What kind of problems? Han Sung asked. Something is coming. First speaker said quietly. Something even our best technology can't stop. We need people who can survive impossible conditions. People who can think differently. People like you. Han Sung thought about Earth, about all the challenges his people had overcome. Whatever was coming, humans would be ready. Tell me more, he said. Earth taught us to face our problems, not run from them. Whatever's coming, we'll help. First speaker nodded gratefully. Then let me show you what we're really facing. But I'd warn you, it's worse than anything even a Deathworlder has seen before. First speaker's hands shook as he showed Han Sung the images. On the main screen, a massive dark cloud moved through space, swallowing whole solar systems. We call it the Void Storm, first speaker explained. It destroys all life it touches. Our weapons can't stop it. Our shields can't block it. It's heading toward populated worlds. Han Sung studied the data carefully. How long do we have? 3 days before it hits the Navaran colony worlds. 2 weeks before it reaches Earth. First speaker looked tired and scared. No species can survive inside the storm. The gravity shifts are too strong. The radiation is too high. The pressure changes would crush any living thing. Han Sung thought for a moment, then called Earth. Yunji and Du Hyun appeared on his tablet screen. Send them the data about deep-sea life on Earth, Han Sung said. About creatures that live near volcano vents. About bacteria that survive in radiation. Do Hyun's eyes lit up with understanding. He typed quickly, sending files to the ship's computer. Earth has life forms that survive in all those conditions. Not humans, but we've studied them. We've learned from them. The ship's doctor looked at the new information with surprise. These creatures, they live in conditions almost as bad as the Void Storm. Yes, Han Sung said, and humans have built machines to work in those places. We've created suits that let us explore the deepest oceans, materials that shield us from radiation, technologies that protect us from extreme pressure. First speaker looked at the data with new hope. Could we combine our advanced technology with your Earth designs? Create something that could survive the storm? We can do better than that, Han Sung said. We can build something to stop it. The next 3 days were busy. Engineers from Earth worked with alien scientists through video calls. They combined human ideas about surviving extreme conditions with advanced alien technology. They built something new, a fleet of special ships that could enter the void storm. But there was one problem. The ships can survive, second guide said, but who will fly them? The storm's conditions are too much for any pilot. I will, Han Sung said, and I'll need more humans. Within hours, 20 human volunteers arrived from Earth through special fast ships. They were deep-sea divers, mountain climbers, and other people used to extreme conditions. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans trained quickly to use the new ships. Remember, Han Sung told his human team, Earth prepared us for this. Everything that made our world hard made us ready for today. The day of the mission came too soon. The void storm was close now, its dark clouds visible from the ship's windows. Han Sung led his team of humans to their ships. The plan is simple, he said. We fly into the storm. We place the energy devices at these points. The devices will create a force field that will break up the storm. Simple? Second guide asked. You'll face radiation that would kill most species, gravity that will feel 10 times stronger than Earth's, pressure that could turn metal to dust. Han Sung smiled. Like I said, simple. The human ships launched into space. Through his radio, Han Sung heard Yanji's voice. Good luck. Show them what Deathworlders can do. As they flew toward the dark cloud, Han Sung thought about Earth, about all its challenges that had seemed so hard. Now he understood. They weren't hardships. They were training. Preparation. Earth had been getting humanity ready for exactly this moment. All ships ready, he called to his team. Remember your training. Remember Earth. Let's show the galaxy what humans can really do. Together, the ships flew into the darkness of the storm. The greatest test of human strength and courage had begun. Inside the void storm, everything was chaos. Han Sung's ship shook violently as waves of gravity pulled at it from all directions. The darkness was complete, broken only by flashes of strange energy. Status report, he called through the radio. His voice was strained from the crushing gravity. Ship 3 in position, came one reply. Energy device planted. Ship 7 ready. Device active. One by one, the human pilots reported in. Despite the incredible conditions, they were doing their jobs. The aliens watching from safe distance couldn't believe what they were seeing. Their bodies should have failed by now, the ship's doctor said, checking her instruments. The gravity, the radiation, the pressure, it's all far worse than we thought. First speaker watched the screens nervously. How are they still conscious, still thinking clearly? Through the command center speakers, they could hear the humans communicating. Voices were strained but determined. Some even made jokes about the conditions. Just like climbing Everest in a storm, one pilot said, laughing despite the pain. Nah, more like deep-sea diving in a hurricane, another replied. Han Sung smiled as he fought his ship through another gravity wave. Earth's worst conditions had been excellent training for this moment. The crushing gravity felt like working out with heavy weights. The radiation wasn't too different from what high-altitude climbers faced. The pressure was like deep-sea diving. Final device in position, Han Sung reported. Everyone pull back. Activating the field in 3, 2, 1. Energy burst from the devices they had planted. Lines of force stretched between them, creating a web of power. The void storm fought against it, sending waves of destructive force against the energy field. It's not strong enough, second guide said, watching the readings. The storm is too powerful. But Han Sung saw something else. No, look. The pattern. It's like weather systems on Earth. Do Hyun, are you seeing this? Through the radio, Do Hyun's excited voice came clear. Yes, It's behaving like a super hurricane. The energy field isn't fighting it properly. We need to make it flow differently. Hansung finished. Earth's storms had taught humans how energy moved in nature. All ships, adjust your devices. Don't fight the storm. Guide it, like directing water flow. The human pilots understood immediately. They adjusted their devices, using Earth knowledge about storms and currents. Instead of blocking the void storm, they made channels for its energy to flow harmlessly into space. Slowly, the dark cloud began to break apart. Light shone through gaps in the darkness. The destructive energy dispersed into empty space. It's working. First speaker shouted, "The storm is breaking up." When the human ships returned to the station, something had changed. The aliens didn't move away from them anymore. Instead, they came closer, wanting to learn. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The Krell came back, not to fight but to apologize and ask for teaching. Other alien species sent messages asking for human help with their hardest problems. Earth was invited to join the Galactic Council, not as a primitive world, but as a respected member. Hansung stood with Yanji and Du Hyun in the council chamber as Earth signed the membership agreement. The room was full of aliens from many worlds, all watching with respect. Humans, first speaker announced, "You came from what we thought was a primitive world. We mocked you for living in harsh conditions. Now we understand that your hard world gave you the strength to save us all. You are no longer Deathworlders. You are Legend Worlders." Later, Hansung looked out at the stars from the station's observation deck. "What do you think Earth prepared us for next?" he asked Yanji. She smiled. "Whatever it is, we'll be ready. Earth taught us the most important lesson of all. There's no challenge too big if you never give up." Hansung nodded. From being mocked as primitive Deathworlders, humans had become respected as legendary problem solvers. But he knew the truth. They were still the same humans who had learned to survive and thrive on their beautiful, harsh, wonderful Earth. The story of the Deathworlders had become a legend, but their journey was just beginning. And somewhere out there, new challenges waited for the species that had learned to turn hardship into strength.